Hello, friends and beautiful people. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Danny, and I've come here to the internet to address the apparent collapse of human society. I've spent the last 7 years carefully studying this world in order to understand the nature of the problems we face. This was done in the hopes that I might figure out where my talents and abilities would be most useful. I originally thought that I would go back to school once I figured out precisely what I should study, but things didn't quite turn out how I thought they would. Along the way, I learned a lot of things from a lot of different people and places. I spent a great deal of time and energy listening to people who knew more than me in many areas that I was interested in. Eventually, I began to realize that we had some serious problems that most people didn't understand. In this world, we are forced to make money to live a life that we want. There was a time when this wasn't necessarily bad. However, the world has changed in many different ways that have fundamentally altered the way our society works. From what I can tell, many of you are not really aware of these changes and don't really understand how these changes have affected you or the society at large. I think that you would be wrong to take that personally and to take that as a slight against your intelligence. Even though I understood that, I understand that reaction, I think it's misplaced. In the modern age, we're all in a constant blizzard of information. There's simply just not enough time to go through and understand every little detail. Unfortunately, the adage of the devil lying in the details is actually true. With so many complexities, it was inevitable that important information would slip past your awareness. I think that what has happened is we've sort of accepted this to be true. And the Band-Aid solution has been to just trust the journalists on the TV and hope that they are the ones to dig through all of this information and bring you the most important bits. Even though this trust is certainly pragmatic, it actually poses quite a problem, quite a big one too. You see, we've seemed to have forgotten what's been happening on this planet for the last 10,000 years. While the majority of us, for the most part, have retained our innate sense of morality, there have always been those who have seen the opportunity in relinquishing those senses. People who have robbed and plundered to enrich themselves. Men and women who have seen fit to call themselves kings and queens and emperors. Hell, it's 2022. We have technology on other planets, and yet we still have kings and queens running around the place like we're in fucking Game of Thrones. Now, you might agree with me that there are still certain individuals who have that lust for power, but you would probably find it hard to believe that those politicians that supposedly represent you are in that group. And here lies the problem: belief. That's really what you guys want. You want somebody to believe in. And the millionaires on the TV, they've figured out how to tell you what you want to hear. So instead of critically analyzing all of the work of these journalists that are on your team, you simply trust them because they're on your team. And you would be very reluctant to consider the possibility that you have been duped or conned. I say you would be reluctant, but in truth, this is a trait of the entire human race. Evolutionarily speaking, it was always quite important to be able to present yourself as strong and smart to others, whether that be for self-defense or to attract a mate. The general protocol has been to puff out your chest and act tough. Humility was always seen as a weakness. And when it comes to the structure of the brain, not much has changed in the last few thousand years. We're still working with this old school wiring. This is essentially what the ego is. It's the image that we want others to see. Many of us have become so accustomed to wearing this mask that we've forgotten it's not actually who we are. And it's not until this world brings us to our knees that the illusion is shattered. And so what is happening today? Well, we have a population that is completely divided, and it's almost straight down the middle. These groups essentially living in different realities, and coincidentally, everybody thinks that they're right. Everybody is completely convinced that their side is correct, and it's the other team that's wrong and crazy and a threat. This way of living is not sustainable. If we want to continue having a civilization through the next few centuries, we need to change how we think and how we behave. As I see it, the way to begin is to take our most cherished beliefs and worldviews and subject them to intense scrutiny. You must learn how to try to prove yourself wrong. It's a very difficult task, to be sure, but it is utterly vital for the future of the human race. If we continue to fight and bicker and think that we're smarter than all the others, we're not going to make it much farther. Now, you might say, Danny, who the hell are you to be talking to us like this? And that's a very valid question. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm not a guru. I'm no savior. I'm just an average human. Okay, I'm just a dude who really wants to understand what the hell is happening and like how do you live properly. That's what I'm interested in. I've wanted this more than anything. I've spent an exorbitant amount of time thinking about all manner of things, thinking about thoughts, thinking about different arguments and counter arguments, and once I've come to a conclusion, I continued to doubt my assertions. It's been a long and painful process to get to where I am. I'm not even sure where that is, but I've doubted myself the whole way here, and I will continue to do so because I see doubt as a powerful tool for growth. I'm not sure if I am correct in all of my views. Perhaps I have allowed my unconscious biases and repressed emotions to warp my perception. This is entirely possible, but I can say that I have allowed for this possibility, and I continue to consider it very carefully. I've spent a lot of time additionally studying my own mind and trying to understand why I do certain things, why I think certain things, why I feel in a certain way. I think that this time has made me acutely aware of how the modern human mind works, and is why I believe this puts me in a decent position to help solve some of the more troubling problems of today. I can't force my views on anyone, nor would I want to. The best I can do is say, here is what I think is true. Here are the reasons why I think these things. Here is the information that I'm basing these assertions on. And here's why I think that this information is legitimate and accurate. This show is essentially about me trying to illustrate what I've learned over the years from all types of people and how I've formed my current perceptions of reality, and all in a coherent way. I'm not quite sure if I'm smart enough to do this, but I need to try, and I just hope that I'm able to be of some help to you guys. I really just want to help make the world a better place for all of us to live in. It's a scary thing for me to do this, to open up to the entire internet, to my friends and my family and coworkers. It's scary to have someone truly see you, because what if they don't like what they see? That's a difficult problem to deal with, because even in today's world, there are places where if you open up, if you express views that are not widely held, it could be dangerous. It could be life-threatening. I'm not saying that I'm feeling that my life is threatened, but what I am saying is it's still scary. Now, I do, at least in an intellectual capacity, respect that like if there are things about me that can be criticized, then they should be. And by criticize, I mean in a legitimate, in a healthy way, because there are criticisms that come from ego that are really just sort of spiteful, hateful rhetoric. But I do welcome your constructive criticisms, and if they're coming from this place where you genuinely are trying to correct me because you think I've been wrong about something, then that's completely fair game. So again, I welcome that. I think that one of the main barriers that we're facing as a people today is the fact that like nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to admit that they were wrong, because to admit that you're wrong about something means that other people see you as being wrong. It's sort of a crack in the ego illusion, right? We want to puff ourselves up and make ourselves seem smart and confident and strong so that people see us that way, even if it's not really true. And so what happens is what's happening right now. People get so defensive because if you even have the slightest amount of pushback on someone's views, someone's beliefs, they take that very personally. And it's seen as an attack that needs to be defended against. So this strongly biases the mind, and it can keep people from seeing the objective truth, because unfortunately the truth is sometimes we are wrong. Sometimes we are not as smart as we thought we are. And I've had to go through this many times in the past, as I continue to do so today, and will continue to do so in the future. If I can indulge just a little bit to finish off this show, I want to read a quote. It's an inscription from the oracle at Delphi in Greece. It reads, "Heed these words, you who wish to probe the depths of nature. If you do not find within yourself that which you seek, neither will you find it outside. For if you ignore the wonders of your own house, how do you expect to find other wonders? In you is hidden the treasure of treasures. Know the self, and you will know the universe and the gods." This is the undiscovered country. I wish you good fortune in the times to come, my friends. Until next time.